Most people don't destroy their lives in one big moment. They destroy them slowly, by staying too long, by fitting in, by choosing people over principles. They don't fall, they drift. And one day, they look around and realize they're surrounded by people who are going nowhere. This is a story about that moment, the moment you either walk away or become one of them. At 15 years old, Alex already knew what he wanted. Football wasn't just a hobby to him. It wasn't something he did after school to kill time. It was structure, discipline, identity. While other kids were hanging around, Alex was training. Early mornings, cold afternoons, blisters on his feet. He loved it. Not because it was easy, but because it gave him purpose. On the field, he knew who he was. Money was never abundant in Alex's house. His father worked hard, but it was never enough to feel secure. When Alex turned 15, life forced a change they didn't plan. They moved to a poorer neighborhood. A different environment, different streets, different rules. Alex had to change teams, change routines, change everything that had kept him grounded. And shortly after, he had to change schools too. New building, new faces, new rules. And suddenly, being the football kid wasn't impressive anymore. It was weird. They laughed at him, at his schedule, at his discipline. Always training, always tired, always saying no. They didn't say it aggressively. They said it casually. That was the dangerous part. At first, Alex ignored them. He kept training, kept showing up. But loneliness has a way of getting loud, and eventually, someone invited him to sit with them. Not because they admired him, but because they wanted him to blend in. They didn't tell him to quit football. They just made him feel stupid for caring. Relax. It's not that serious. You're not going pro anyway. They laughed, and Alex laughed with them, because laughter is easier than standing alone. Little by little, he changed. Training sessions became shorter. Excuses became easier. He started staying out later, skipping workouts, not because he wanted to, but because he didn't want to be left out. That's how it always starts. Not with pressure, with acceptance. One afternoon, a teacher stopped him, asked him to open his backpack. Inside they found weed, not hidden well, not carefully, almost like part of the uniform. The call home was quiet, professional, cold. That night, Alex sat at the kitchen table. His father, Mark, sat across from him. No yelling, no anger, just silence. Then Mark spoke. "Tell me what happened." Alex looked down. "I didn't want to be the odd one anymore," he said. "They don't take football seriously. They don't take me seriously. So I tried to be like them." That sentence hit harder than any punishment ever could. Mark leaned back in his chair. He closed his eyes. And for a moment, he wasn't looking at his son. He was looking at himself. "I was your age once," Mark said slowly, "and I did the same thing." Alex looked up. "I had goals too," Mark continued. "Not football, but something I cared about. I was disciplined, focused, different. And my friends hated that. They didn't tell me to stop," Mark said. "They just made sure I felt uncomfortable continuing. They mocked ambition. They laughed at effort. They wanted me close, not better." Mark paused. "I stayed because I didn't want to be alone. And every year it got harder to leave." Alex listened. "I thought I had time," Mark said. "I thought I'd come back to my goals later, but later never came." Mark looked around the room, not angry, just honest. "I'm almost 50, he said, "and I don't live the life I imagined, not because I failed, but because I stayed." Silence filled the kitchen. "You think weed is the problem?" Mark asked. "It's not. The problem is who you're becoming around them." "Listen to me carefully," Mark said. "You cannot build anything meaningful while you're surrounded by people who mock growth. You cannot stay disciplined in a place that celebrates laziness." Alex swallowed. "But they're my friends," he said. Mark nodded. "I know. That's what makes it dangerous." Mark leaned forward. "I loved my friends too. They weren't bad people. They just didn't want to change. And I paid the price for staying loyal to people who were already lost." Mark's voice dropped. "If you stay with them," he said slowly, "this will be your life." He pointed at himself. "As it was mine." Alex felt his chest tighten. This wasn't advice. It was a warning. Mark continued, "You don't ruin your life in one bad decision. You ruin it by making small compromises to keep people comfortable. You start lying to yourself. You call it balance. You call it being normal. But it's fear. You're not afraid of failing," Mark said. "You're afraid of being alone." So was I. Mark stood up. "I won't force you to leave them," he said. "But understand this. No one ever escaped an average life by staying in an average circle." Alex didn't sleep much that night. He thought about training, about laughter, about acceptance, about where each path led. At school, nothing had changed. Same jokes, same invitations, same pressure to disappear into the group. But Alex felt different. For the first time, he saw the future in front of him. Clear, ugly, honest. He didn't quit overnight. That's not how real change works. But he stopped pretending. He trained again, said no more often. And slowly, the invitations stopped. He was alone again. But this time, it felt different. This time, it felt clean. Years later, Alex would look back at that moment. Not as the day everything got fixed, but as the day everything became possible. Because you don't need perfect friends. You need honest ones. And sometimes, the most dangerous people in your life are the ones who keep you comfortable while you decay. This is the part most people don't want to hear. You can't grow where you're constantly pulled back. You can't win if everyone around you is afraid of effort. Toxic friendships don't always destroy you loudly. They destroy you slowly by convincing you that discipline is stupid, that ambition is cringe, that trying is embarrassing. And one day, you wake up and realize you became just like them, still waiting, still talking, still planning, still stuck. So listen carefully. If you stay with people who laugh at your goals, if you stay where growth feels uncomfortable, if you stay because leaving feels lonely, this will be your life, just like it became mine.